the tension showing on Jocky's face. One dart could give him the World Championship.
The experience that started me on the road to a darts career happened in the Lister. One night, I was sitting with my pint, and a team match was going on. They announced they needed another player. I was roped in. Some people call it the whitewash. In Scotland, it's the granny. I was humiliated. I vowed to myself that would never happen again. I got an old dartboard, so I just kept practicing and practicing, day and night. You get that way when you're on the dole. You've got all the time in the world to be single-minded.
Jocky Wilson. Jocky Wilson, champion of the world.
Have you won any big money this year?
I've won a few quid.
Yeah! Jocky's the champion!
In the southeast corner of the county and looking out on the North Sea is Kirkcaldy.
There's no prouder son of the lang tune than John Thomas Wilson. It's where I belong. And now perhaps I have a wee part in the history of the tune.
Yeah, he gets it! He's done it again! The magic little Scotsman! What a player!
Kirkcaldy sits looking out over the Forth. Grey sea, grey houses. Take a walk around the town and you might not see much to excite the design council. Imagine the scene. Winter time, late 70s. I think of my wife. Where is she this frosty morning? At the time, Malvina was scrabbling in the field picking tatties. Her prospects were nil, and she was doing her bit to keep the home going. My darts gave me a bit of fun, took my mind off things, but I couldn't get away from the dole. If you're ever in Kirkcaldy, there are one or two pubs in town.
One system, I've never tried that lager stuff. What do you cry that lager stuff? Want to taste it? Really drink a whole lot in one. Damn good. Aye.
You'll maybe bump into my pal, Jimmy Skirvin. He is fond of a pint, so be sure to buy him one. Me and Jimmy used to play for the same pub team. And he can tell you one or two funny stories about Jocky Wilson.
That's Jocky there. Sitting for the right. That's myself in the front with the trophy. The youth and all the faces. No, it's lovely to see that picture actually. Jocky never had a hate me. His eyes skinned. Because he was on the dole a lot of the times, you know. A wee scruff. A wee scruff.
In the early days, I was a bit scruffy, no money, hardly any teeth, long hair, you know. I was a bit untidy and that, but there again, you only learn in life. I've had ups and downs all my life. Me and my younger brother, we were in the children's home. My mother and father had separated, so really, it wasn't for being a bad boy or that, but that's life. Yeah, and if anybody's watching it there that's used to look after me, I've done well, haven't I? When I left school, I laboured on the building sites, filleted fish. I've done a few jobs, but I've never really had any qualification, you know.
He was in the army for a couple of years, and then he come out of the army, he was in the pit for a while. He wasn't a lazy person, not in the least. Couldn't wait till September, October till the tatty season came in. And the people in here used to call him Black Jock, because he was all covered in tatties or something. That was how he got by sometimes. But it was mainly wee bits of jobs on the side, you know. Didn't tell the dough, because he was working on the quiet. But he very seldom had much, poor bugger, until he got later on. He didn't have much at all.
This is my darts archive. I'm the only person who's got a PhD in darts, and I think this is the largest archive of darts-related materials. In this particular file, this will contain a few photographs of the man himself. This is a very early photograph of a young jockey, the early part of his career, who's just won the Fife Super League individual men's title. It was always said that it was the one thing that a working class man or woman, that they could become a national champion, was by playing darts.
For the amateur dart thrower, this is Valhalla. A day for toasting champions whose praises are sung but seldom.
It was an opportunity for working class people, and they, by and large, most dart players are working class. And there's no other sport that can take somebody from a public bar and then make them a world champion. There we have a player who's clearly Jocky Wilson, but he's referred there as Scottish star Eric McLean.
Darts was, well, it was the thing in Kirkcaldy, without a doubt. Darts was a working man's sport, the poor man's recreation, if you like, and it was a pub sport. They had loads and loads of people that was able to go to pubs, factories and ductworks, ships coming in, miners, so they had a hell of a lot of pubs. Everybody wanted to play darts. There was so many pubs had teams. The right person at the right time in the right place.
I realised I had a genuine knack for the game. A darts player could get a game in any pub at any time. This was fun. I really look forward to seeing the boys. We've got some good players.
This is the games room, and it was really busy at that time. And this was 2 boards there at that time. The dart boards was always full. Jockey came up here. A lot of nice people came in here, and a lot of good dart players as well.
That's me there. I must have been 18 there. He must have been about 24, 25 maybe. Jockey, he just got better and better. Could maybe play 25 to 50 games a night. He played pub league against good players, and that's when he shone through.
He was just a talent. See, he was gifted right from the beginning, you could say that. That was Jocky, the way back in '78. Jocky was really passionate. Jocky did not like to get beat. Make no mistake about that.
These are men very much of their communities. You could walk into your local pub, and most of these pubs had their own darts teams with very, very good darts players. So not only was it a sport that was born of its working class roots, it's remained completely true to it, and it's remained part of working class pub, local community culture.
What you seen was what you got with Jocky. If Jocky wasn't in a good mood, you knew he wasn't in a good mood. But he played better darts when he was in a bad mood.
Just an absolute talent.
Well, I played on my very first year in Kirkcaldy darts. I got beat in the final by him, 3-2. Oh, it was devastating, but I was greeting in everything. He made it up.
Jocky was really good. I can mind one time we were practising, him and me was practising, like, you know, and he was standing at the board throwing his darts.
Rap Smith. He's the Scottish team captain. Rab has a fine record against the top players and has done wonders for Scottish darts.
And he threw his first dart, and he dumped it in the top and away, and he just done that. Treble 20, treble 20, treble 20. Just casual, like, you know, no earnest or that, just through, and talking at the same time, you know. But that's practice, you know.
He got really good, again, and he just took over, really. He was in the final of the Scottish in Edinburgh. Jocky had no clothes to go to the final. So he got patent leather shoes, a pair of trousers that was held up with a piece of string, and off he went. And Julie won it.
Jocky Wilson lifts the dart to eye level and lets fly with an accuracy that's taken the man who was an unemployed miner in Kirkcaldy straight to the bullseye of competitions.
That will do! Beautiful!
First leg to Jocky Wilson.
Name of the competition, bullseye, and that's the first one we've had.
I love it. It's great. You get a laugh and a carry on with the people, and that's it, isn't it? I mean, they're paying to come and watch you playing, you've got to entertain them. It's great, and it's great when you get paid for something that you like doing.
There's a boy, a little boy, shooting arrows in the blue, and he's aiming them at someone but the question.
My first few months as a professional were no bed of roses. Look what happened when I won one of my first big prizes. I played in a Grand Masters at Portland. Got to the quarters and won £500. Somebody from the social saw me win. Next thing I know, they've gone and stopped my dole.
Jocky on the hockey, feeling cocky. Yeah.
Bobby George. A great entertainer, the sequin shirts.
Eat your heart out, Christian Dior.
The unorthodox shots. Bobby's one of the few players who throws right-handed but sights the dart with his left eye. I first met him in 1978. Back in my struggling days, he was a godsend with advice and companionship. It was Bobby who persuaded me to try professional darts.
First time I met John, he had no money. He was skint. And not a pot. He didn't have a penny on him when I met him, and he's in London. I was, you know, what's he going to do at night? He walked around the shops or something, he ain't got no money. I liked him. He was funny. He used to make me laugh a bit. He was a great dart player, and he didn't know it. I knew it. And I called him the bumblebee. I said, well, a bumblebee, the size of his body, but in physics, he can't fly. Because his wings are too small for his body. But he does. And the reason why he flies is because he don't know he can't. And that's what I call Jocky. He was like a bumblebee, he didn't care. You couldn't say he's not going to win, he just kept throwing. Until the referee said, game shot, and he'd go, oh, ever won it? Oh, it's a make me laugh, oh my God. He was just that way, the bumblebee. And I became a good mate. Darts was a lot on television in days, and we became household names.
It all started, really, when Control of BBC Two was looking to fill his schedule. In those days, BBC Two used to close down at 11:30 in the morning after play school and open up at 7 o'clock at night. So you had this great wodge of time. And Control was now looking for more indoor sports to fill BBC Two up with. He wanted the World Darts Championship. The best players in the world playing for the biggest prize in the game.
A very good evening. We're here to cover this brand new tournament, £10,500 to be won.
It was the 78 World Championship covered by the BBC that really got top darts to the public.
10 double tops that take the world's major prize.
God, I remember sitting at home in Kirkcaldy and just aching to be there.
They come to see more than sport. They come to see sport that is also entertainment. Yes! In our matador element.
Standing by for cutaways, yes.
It grew massively.
Yeah, see what the viewing figures are, actually. We can't wait to see.
You got your face throwing a dart. Everyone knew you.
It was obvious to me the next step in my career was to get up in front of the cameras and take on the best.
Good evening, and tonight we have the Scotland official #1, Jocky Wilson.
Throws very fast, Jocky Wilson, often too fast, and seems to find it difficult to keep consistent form on the big occasions.
Jocky was different. He threw the darts a little bit quicker, and it was quite difficult to cover.
And the pride of Kirkcaldy, Jocky Wilson.
There's a player coming to the board and you've no idea whereabouts on the board he's going.
Really hard at them.
In the box, Sid Waddell and Tony Green play a double-hander. While one commentates, the other, reading the mind of the player, calculates the arithmetic options for the cameraman.
He'd say, I think he's going for #2. And off the camera would drop to #2, and I'd be looking at Jocky's eyes wherever he was, see if he was going up that way, and if he did, off I went too.
Jocky had no fear, so he'd just keep throwing. The jockey, they say he couldn't make a dart play because he snatches.
And you can watch for yourselves, Jockey's got a tendency to snatch at the dart, particularly the last one, when he's under pressure.
First one, like that.
There's the snatch.
A lot of people have been saying Jocky Wilson hasn't thrown his best arrows yet.
Now, I admit I'm not the most elegant man on the hockey. I pitch forward as I throw, my shoulders move awkwardly, and I alter my grip sometimes to snatch at the dart. I've seen myself do this on the telly and tried to stop.
They're both looking extremely hot indeed on that 60.
I've never seen anyone quite lunge the third dart as Jocky did. He threw his entire body at the board.
Wilson with a much jerkier action.
The snatch was just part of the way he played darts.
Tops. The snatch again.
He was only a short man. And I think that's where the snatch came from. Jocky threw it from round here. As often as not, when he did snatch the dart, he went in treble 20 or the double.
Well, that's a handful. They're loving this.
180. It was phenomenal.
What do you do for relaxation? Just drink pints of vodka. That'll do me.
Drink. He used to drink heavy stuff, the vodka, and he'd drink it like beer. He'd drink a pint of vodka, honestly. Like a beer drink, he liked beer. Oh. And he used to do it. You go.
Jocky, I read somewhere that for you to be at your very best, you need 8 vodkas and Coke.
I wouldn't say that you're a liar, Frank, but you're not far off it.
The drink that he took, I mean, I couldn't have done that and played darts. Not a hope.
Most darts players put away a few lagers of vodkas before a game. In the old days, I desperately needed the money, so I was tense when I played darts. I was so uptight and keen to do well that I often had a drop too much to drink.
But Jocky was quite nervous. One tournament, he was up, bloody drunk, he fell off the stage.
Alcohol and darts, a perfect marriage. You had numerous sponsors coming on board.
You need a beer there. You need your fags over there. You worked out that you played good darts with 3 pints down the Brewer's Arms, right? So a pint you'll have, and if you're going well, you'll have a sip. They get going. And it's purely the fact that that's the way they played well before.
I'm a bit nervous. I'll try my best.
He did drink a lot. He's probably down to nerves, to be honest, because he was a quiet man. And to bring himself out of his shell, I mean, drink was the obvious way to do it.
He was one of the few people I've ever met in this world who could play darts to a fantastic level when he was roaring.
Double top. Yeah! Jocky's the champion! And don't he look happy? Aha! Good old Jock!
Well, how does that affect? I mean, how do you think that would affect you in the long term if you're playing 5-6 nights a week?
Well, I know it's not very good for my health and that. I think I could compete with John and Eric. My luck's just done and I've got a wee bit of time on my hands. I could only get better.
To win double 11!
It all happened for me in the early 80s. Knew I was up there with the real darts professionals. It was like a dream.
They will be cuddling in Kilkenny! There'll be a fiesta in Fife!
I tell you, it was certainly a long way from the dole office in Kirkcaldy.
Jocky Wilson wins £3,000. He is the British Open champion. Jocky Wilson of Scotland.
There's Jocky, who's clearly ecstatic at the British Open of 1982. And there he is, a 31-year-old professional whose exceptional career needs only a world title such as the Embassy to take it to the highest level. This is a original copy of the programme for the Embassy World Professional Darts Championship held in 1982, and basically what changed his entire future.
For 1 week a year, the yellow brick road leads here. The big one.
Good evening from the Embassy Darts Championship of the World, where it's a full house.
Inside the lights are low, the seats are plush, and they do a roaring trade in booze.
Jolly's nightclub, it was phenomenal. It had terrific atmosphere. Be world champion, that was the big thing.
The top 32 players from all over the world are gathering in Stoke this week, and the students of form are having a field day.
Well, everybody in Kirkcaldy would have been watching it. You can imagine the atmosphere, Ken.
Will it be a big payout to Scotland's British professional champion, Jocky Wilson? Or will the big guns get their names back in the record books? Either way, how do you topple Bristol?
Kirkcaldy didn't have a lot to shout about. The man was a hero to me, eh?
Margaret Thatcher had become Prime Minister in 1979, and within a couple of years, a lot of these communities began to feel her heel on their necks. There was deindustrialisation, the fight with the mine workers. Very quickly it became evident that whoever won, or rather whoever lost, the consequences for them and their communities would be dire. And I think when you had sports stars coming from these areas, they carried, probably unfairly, they carried the hopes and aspirations and pride of people in these communities.
There was 1,200 folk that Jolly's held, getting Jolly's nightclub. That's what it held, 1,200 people. So you can imagine, and you've got two balmy Scots. Long way I'm getting shouting for somebody for Kirkcaldy.
I'm glad I was there, put it that way. Again, it was a moment that you could say I was there. In the practice room, it was practice, practice, practice.
In '82, when it came round to that final, I have to be honest, I expected to beat him.
My opponent, John Lowe, treats the whole business like a scientist, trying to put rockets on the moon. His concentration on the board is total. He rarely blinks once he's taken his stance. It's as though he's trying to hypnotise you.
Full of anticipation of this great final in just a few moments' time.
Even watching it, yeah, you get nervous. you're more nervous than them. You can.
That little mighty atom, the Kirkcaldy kid from Scotland.
No, it's probably best not to do too much thinking before a world final.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome, please, Jocky Wilson?
But God, I must admit my mind was on the 6,500 and on the millions watching on TV.
Come on, Josh. Come on, listen.
Not getting it together at the moment, Jocky. Low, definitely, and more consistent.
And I know the jockey and his pal Bobby George were up late into the night having tactical talks about this match.
Just a wee bit of distraction.
You only hear the crowd when you're playing bad.
85.
That was us sitting there. That's my missus there. I think my wife's leg underarm was black and blue by the time I was finished because I was gripping, you can, because you're showing every dart for them, you know what I mean, eh?
You certainly can to take the set. He's got it, double 18.
Yeah! And superb game shot. A 1-4-1. Yes, Jockey, boy.
If John doesn't win this set, Jockey becomes world champion. Double 16 now. On the wire.
9 score.
The tension showing on Jockey's face.
So good, mate. Final 2 or 3 darts, it was absolutely excruciating.
He's trying to keep his cool.
Hey, come on. Mind him, Dave. Mind him hitting this. It's that, eh?
I was drained of effort and just about in tears. I never dreamed that I'd be here. Didn't snatch, John.
You shot everything, Ronnie.
One dart could give him the world championship.
Jocky wins! Lowe congratulates him. The victor takes the glory.
Get in there.
And the tears on Floro, the tears of pride. They'll be singing, they'll be howling, flinging all over Scotland for this lad. Didn't he do well?
Jumping up and down there, Bobby.
Right, it's amazing. Oh, I feel so pleased for John.
Well,
I'll call him John, not Jockey.
Well, that's his name.
I think that gives me a kick seeing him play darts like that. I mean, when 2 years ago he said, "Cool, I wish I could throw darts like you, Bob." And then he can teach me. I'm watching him. It's
Jocky Wilson!
Scotland should be proud of him.
It's really marvellous, especially for being the first Scotsman to win. It was even, you know, it's unbelievable.
He was adamant he was going home, he wasn't going back to the hotel. And we just piled in the car and I kept saying to him, "You've done it, you've done it." To the left at the bottom here's the Lister bar. Now I go up. This is where it all started. Travelled up overnight, he just wanted to get back to his family and show his cup off. He was fair chuffed with that. pandemonium. It was a great time for Kirkcaldy, to be honest.
I was based in the Lister Bar, that's where I was playing all my darts. Came back to the pub, it was packed, full. It was marvellous, the reception I got was out of this world. God, I've never seen nothing like it in my life, and it got to me and I started to cry, you know. I didn't know I had so many friends, to be honest.
Jocky couldn't wait to get back to Malvy. He was that chuffed to getting up. He couldn't wait to get home and tell Malvy and everything. Yeah. But that's a typical picture. You ken how you would think of Jocky. His belly hanging over his trousers. They were a nice couple. They were a close couple. Malvy was just a nice woman. She was a character. She was at Argentine till she was 12, I think. I'm sure, well, she was cried after the islands, the Malvinas. She was a great person.
Presumably the financial rewards must be greater because you are the world champion.
Well, it's not actually just winning it. It's the sponsorships and that involves. I've been on the phone to my manager and it's never stopped ringing for work, so I'm going to enjoy it. And I think I'll make a lot of money this year.
He made his name. Everybody knew Jocky. Literally everybody. You walk down the street and say, do you know Jocky Wilson? They'd say, oh, that's that guy who plays darts on TV. They absolutely loved him.
They wanted him to win. He had the people following him to win.
Every place we went, he was always welcome. Hallelujah, you can.
I've never had money, now I'm getting it. I'm not making me any big head eater. I'm making a few bob now, but I'm just the same Jocky Wilson.
Now he's world champion. He was going to get all sorts of offers from all sorts of people, and Jocky would take them all.
Bullseye for the whole thing!
Here is Jocky transformed from dart slob to heart throb.
From darts, there's Jocky Wilson, the champion of the world.
Jockey's darts would be making a great deal of money.
He was massive. We used to have TV companies in the high street, like Ready Views, and I'd see it on the TV and rush home so I could watch it. But I always loved him like you. He had this great, big, massive smile. You know what I mean?
We start tonight in Kirkcaldy, home of the now celebrated dartist who's called Jocky Wilson. Now, has it been a good year, Jocky?
Well, I think I've had a very good year. I'm quite happy the way things have went.
Have you won any big money this year?
I've won a few quid.
You're not badly off, are you?
Well, I'm a lot better off now than what I was, say, 3 years ago.
You're also a lot better off now than you were when you set out as a child.
Well, I've had a hard upbringing, Russell.
He really gulped it in, sort of as if he was pinching himself. You know, is this real? That was the impression I got, as if he couldn't believe it.
After my win in '82, the bookings came in thick and fast. We had no money in the old days. Darts had given us our big chance. It would be stupid to miss out on it. And I'm trying to make as much as I can because, quite simply, it might not last. You live out of a suitcase. You might see the wife and kids once a fortnight, but you have to grin and bear it. You're an entertainer.
I'd like you to give a standing ovation to the reigning world champion, British professional champion, Jocky Wilson.
In the early 80s, the life of a professional dart player was pretty hectic. There were numerous television tournaments. And then there was the exhibition work.
Well, the exhibitions was the bread and butter. Obviously, there was no guarantees with tournaments. You had to perform and play well to win the big prizes, but exhibition work, you get paid basically by the pub, the club or the brewery or whatever to turn up and play the Joe public.
100.
You were away from home. It was a difficult time, but it was a lot of fun at the same time.
So with 21 games and 2 hours play ahead, what's the pressure on for Jocky?
It's really a night out with the lads. We're here to entertain them.
A lot of travelling, a lot of exhibitions, and he'd always be the last one out of the venue at the night. He enjoyed the hospitality of the landlords, let's say.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you tell me why it is that darts players have to be fuelled by beer? What does it do for you?
Well, to be honest, I do drink quite a lot, because I've seen me going in front of the TV cameras and maybe having one over the top. Yeah. But I'll be all right from now on, hopefully.
Me and Jocky used to do exhibitions. Went to America together. I used to share a room with him, and I'll be sharing a room with him, and I've gone to sleep, then I mean, a match strike. Snoring away. 10 minutes later, he used to smoke 20 fags when he's asleep. At night, he used to wake up and smoke one. He couldn't see the room, it was all cloudy.
I know I'm working too hard. Sometimes I'm ill, tired and out of sorts. But when I get a fag going and have a wee drink, the thrill of the game is still there for me. I hope it always stays like that.
It has changed a lot. I mean, I've got one house now. Now I've got a nice set of teeth and that. Thanks to the TV Times for supplying them for me. Thank you very much, David.
Are you better with them in or out?
Well...
No, oh.
The trouble with Jocky is that he was a target, you know, especially the red tops. Stupid, smashed and sick. World champion Jocky Wilson's appeal against a £1,000 fine and a 3-month ban. Dismissed. He was such a character that if he did anything wrong, the popular press would seize on it. This is the Sun. He slaps a fan as crowd bay for blood, and he yells a 4-letter word. Sports greedy Mr. Big hides a fortune from the taxman.
You're one of the most popular people in the sport.
I'm just a down-to-earth person. I get a little bit crack here and there for the press and whatever, but if they're talking about me, they're leaving somebody else alone, you know?
Would you say
He didn't like to be well known. That's the shyness in him. I mean, you know, he didn't like the limelight. He wasn't outgoing as a person. He didn't know what to say, or he couldn't. It just didn't. It's out of his depth.
The sinking of HMS Sheffield and the bombing of the Welsh Guards at Bluff Cove lifted the British death toll to 250.
Malvina still has an Argentinian passport. I got stuck through that with the Falklands War. There were some nasty anonymous letters to her house, harping on about Malvina being Argentinian by birth. One was addressed to Malvina Perón.
Somebody shouted when he was just going to throw, "What about the Malvinas, Jocky? As your wife supporting Argentina?" And again, 500-600 people there. It wasn't very nice, actually.
That's wrong. It's nothing to do with anything.
They've got the handshot from your eyes, their ears. Jocky wants double 10. And look at the grins. It's going to be smash and spending 10 grand, Jocky.
The money came too quick. He didn't know how to handle it. Oh, he got ripped off something terrible.
This is a newspaper cuttings that referred to Jocky Wilson's case that was brought against him by his former manager. "Don't wind me up," Jocky says to the judge. "Most of the time he approached me when I was under the influence." Whatever case Jocky made was lost, and it cost him in total around about between 80 and 85,000.
He wants double top.
As far as Jocky was concerned, a drink was part of his job. But by the end of the night, he was a different Jocky Wilson.
Jocky slips
His game was explosive, and he was explosive as a person. He could change just like that.
And Jocky Wilson's face says it all.
There were times when he was not the easiest man to get on with.
And there does seem to be some controversy.
So he was pretty difficult at times.
Well, he does burn on a short fuse, this little fella.
When he had a drink, he changed. He was more aggressive.
And, well, Wilson refused the handshake, and that suddenly has soured the whole occasion.
And that was Jocky, because they were two different people. He was the jockey that was a terrific dart player, and then a very insecure person off the board.
You can't keep everybody happy. I find that's the most difficult part of being the world champion. I enjoy it, but you can't please everybody.
Probably an hour later, he wouldn't remember who he'd played, let alone what the result was.
I mean, obviously, I have some bad nights, and I've got to behave myself because I've had a hard upbringing, and so I've got to watch my language and whatnot, you know what I mean? And it's very difficult. That's the problem, my main problem.
In the morning, he wasn't like that. He was really polite. You wouldn't think he was the same person.
The first thing Jocky did was go around and apologise.
Knocking on the doors, and whoever come to the door, he'd say, "Did I upset you last night?"
He didn't know what he was apologising for, but he was sure he'd done something the night before that demanded an apology. And quite often it did, sadly.
Darts ace jockey and pub riot. What would he know about dealing with the news of the world and the Sun if there's been a bit of gossip about him? Few of us would have the tools to deal with that. I think we threw Jocky to the wolves.
The pressure must have been terrible. Going into big championships, wondering if he's got to let Scotland down, if he's going to let himself down, he's got to let his family down, his pals down, I mean, it must have been hellish, the pressure.
It's my life. I'm entitled to do what I want to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1989 Embassy World Professional Darts Championship. Please welcome the Pride of Scotland, Jocky Wilson.
I think I've done it right this year. It's going to be some game. You just remember it, Jockey's not going to give up, and you better believe it.
The continuing battle against Eric Bristow, where Jocky says, "I should have chinned Bristow 100 times to silence him." To which Eric has replied on the same page, "Chin me, the way Wilson is playing now, he would miss."
It hasn't taken professional darts long to get into the sporting big time. The world-class players have now started insulting each other just like real sportsmen.
Well, I think it's been terrible what Eric Bristow's been saying since he became the world champion again, and I think it's bloody ridiculous, and he should get pulled up for doing it.
I didn't say he was a fat pig, I said he was sweating like a pig, Jocky, referring to Jocky, and truth usually hurts.
Eric didn't go a lot on Jocky, because Jocky, he found it hard to beat Jocky. He could give Jocky all the wind-up, but he didn't care, you know?
Who the hell does he think he is? Eric's a great player, but so is Jocky Wilson. But he thinks nobody's near him, and I think he's wrong to do that.
Looking from his point of view, he's got to get in the paper somewhere anyway, because he's not winning nothing.
He wasn't over keen on him, Jocky Wilson. He was over keen on Eric. I can't say what he used to call him, so.
The Embassy World Professional Final.
It's the best of 11 sets. First to 6 is the winner.
Yes!
2 maxes in the leg. Jocky turning the screw.
tell you, the final was something else. I should have won 6-0.
Well, 4 180s.
This guy's become a folk hero. Scots people love Scots heroes who have a reputation beyond Scotland. So even those who had never picked up a dart, had never seen darts, who would never have expected to be talking about darts, suddenly were all over this wee guy.
Double top for the set. Yes! That's the third set. What's he going to do about that?
The 89 final was one of the best finals. It was exciting. Jocky went ahead 5-0, and he told reporters afterwards that somebody up there's looking after me.
Double top.
60.
Will he try double 9?
But I gave Eric a chance to bloody come back at me.
Double 9 it is. He's got it as well, the breakthrough's on.
I thought I was beat the way he come back.
Jocky sweats, knows it was his. Double top. Yes! Well, he gives us all a kiss. He's back. It's 5-3. They're enjoying it.
There's always a problem in darts. If somebody starts to catch up with you, you do tend to lose your focus a little bit.
Yes!
I struggled. I was snatching. I was sweating.
Double 5.
I ran out of steam.
Breakthrough time. They know it.
The more tense it became, the more that it was at stake, the closer the match became.
125.
Lakeside jumper. Bristow wants double 16 for 5-4. Giving his fans heart attacks.
16
It's the wrong bed.
It was brilliant to watch.
Jocky required 104.
For the world title. Double 18.
68 score.
I think he miscounted. He did.
He went with the wrong double.
He miscounted, went for the wrong double.
I couldn't believe it. I should have went for 36 and I went for tops.
He miscounted. He wanted double 18 for the title and he went for double top.
I don't know what went through my mind.
Save the match. Thank you. To save a cracking match. He's got to get the bull, I think. And he's got it!
He had this steely determination, he had this iron hard nerve in the white heat of the most tense battles.
Double 10 to take the title.
Oh, he missed it again. John.
Jocky Wilson! Champion of the world in 1992! Does it! What a match! What a brilliant darts match!
But it could happen to a nicer fella, mate.
Exactly, I think we're all. It's
love you.
a great final, and it would have been great for either of you to have won, but I'm sure you're right, there's a lot of popular support for Jocky Wilson.
We'll keep trying this all stages.
Yeah.
I prefer a few pints before I play.
Before?
Yes.
I just went back, you know, do you have to close one eye?
No, keep both eyes open. I would just wish they would leave us alone. Just because we like a few pints, it's not the end of the world.
What does the doctor say?
Don't smoke, don't drink. I'm saying I as well stop breathing. So what do you do?
One leg away from defeat is Wilson. He sweats, he wipes his brow.
It was catching up on him because he was starting to sweat when he was on tournaments as well.
To the sweat off Wilson.
We played pairs together, and he kept saying, "Phil, I can't walk, you know, I'm shattered." I said, "Jock, I think you're diabetic." "I'm not." I said, "I think," it was F off. Because I had diabetes in my family, my wife, my kids, and you're knackered, you're drinking water, you can't concentrate.
He misses!
I said, "Go see your doctor."
Well, I've always drunk, you know, and the doctor told me to cut it in half. But there again, if you have 2 or 3 pints, you want a bucket fit. Well, I do. So the only way around that was to stop drinking altogether. It's been very hard, like.
There's a mistake on the scoring.
I tend to take one over the top.
Spelling out the rules. Close from the crowd. Jockey problems.
It was tiring him more than anything. Kind of was getting listless quite easy.
Top needed. Double 10. Oh!
This is the embassy. It's the World Championship. I won it twice, and I'm not being a defeatist. I got beat fair and square this evening. But I'll tell you something. If this is the way they run darts, I'll tell you something. I don't want to come back again.
He couldn't be Jocky Wilson anymore. You know, he couldn't have his drink when he was on the stage. He couldn't have his cigarette when he was on the stage. So he just couldn't be himself anymore. And that's then when you knew then, it's taking its toll now. All the years of back and forward, cigarettes, drink. You can. But it was a drink culture. That was the thing.
Jocky had a tough time, and he faced the same pitfalls as we all faced. Some of us were lucky enough to walk around them. Jock, unfortunately, didn't.
He just disappeared off of the face of the earth, and I think it was the combination of those things that just sent him back home.
He just quit. He just made his mind up that he'd not just retired, but he'd finished with everybody. I mean, everybody.
I enjoyed it while it lasted. But that's life, eh? I just didn't have it in me. My mind wasn't right. I said to myself, I'll just have to get out of this because I can't handle it anymore. I've got diabetes, arthritis, and I'm on tablets for depression. No money, no trade, no prospects. 46 years old, and I'm all washed up. So, I packed it in and came home.
Aye, this is Jockey's Old Street, Collier Street. He wanted back here, and he came back. Jockey stayed down there on the right-hand side, but I didn't see him as often. He didn't come out that much.
He just locked himself away in his house. I know people went round to try and talk to him, and he used to lift the letterbox up and tell them to go away.
He never talked to anyone. I think he had enough of people close to him that done him up like a kipper, really. Ruined him.
It was very sad, very sad. I sense he was an extremely proud man and didn't want to be helped.
I can understand where he's coming from, not wanting to see anybody. He'd be embarrassed a lot, you can, because going for fame to obscurity, so to speak, you can.
There we see Jocky is on the rocks, telling the news of the world there that he will never throw a dart again. And he always blamed himself. For his downfall, he would not blame anybody else. He actually said, you know, I take full responsibility of where, you know, for me being where I am.
I was sports editor at the Scotsman, who did want to track him down to get his story, We got one of our best writers to go into that community in Kirkcaldy and just to try and sit down with them or get some words with them. And he just was not for appearing.
He never sees nobody or that, eh? You know, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is with him now, eh?
Are you his wife?
You know, aye.
Nice to meet you.
Unfortunately, aye.
You must be Malvina.
Aye.
All right.
Aye, that's me. That's me. Aye. We just came back here, eh? Back home, eh? So, and this is home. You know? So, we're back home.
Margaret and I can get by with what we get off the social. I don't care if I never pick up a dart again. I just want to be left alone.
I remember Malvina says, I don't care where I live, as long as he's happy. She just didn't care, like, as long as he was okay.
One of the touching aspects of this was that people in his community were very protective of him as well. It's almost like he had come back to them. It was probably unsaid, but almost these communities, these people who had grown up with him, realised that he needed them now.
I just wanted to get back amongst my own.
Brilliant seeing yourself.
I feel comfortable here. I have no regrets.
It just seemed to go downhill. And then I got the word that it passed away.
Isn't it nice to look back though, eh? Because they're still here when you look back. You think they're still here, don't you? Please. Yeah, I knew him probably better than anyone really in darts. He travelled the world with me. He used to take a suitcase with him, nothing in it, a pair of socks. You know, I couldn't believe it. I said, is it your case? He said, yeah. I said, there's light in it, there's nothing in it. He said, there's a pair of socks. I said, is it worth it to bring a case for a pair of socks? We win some money and buy some clothes over there, so it's all right.
You've got to clear the hall. Have a safe journey home. Good night, and God bless every one of you. Thank you very much.
There's a boy, a little boy, shooting arrows in the blue, and he's aiming them at someone, but the question is at who? Is it me or is it you? It's hard to tell until you're hit, but you'll know it when they hit you, 'cause they hurt a little